Hi, in this tutorial we'll learn something which is very common when we do anything with the internet, and it's called Json. Json is both very simple and a bit complicated, but we'll explain it in 4 slides. It's very easy actually. So Json is an answer to this. Let's say that Julie, who is a user of your app, wants to send a message to another user of your app. So if you are coding, you think like, that's going to be easy. I'm just going to take what Julie has written. So maybe she has written, "Hey, how are you today?" And I'm going to send that over the internet to the other guy who will receive that. But no. That would be too simple. When you send text over the internet, you can't just send the sentence like that. What you do instead is the following. You do that, and this way to write curly braces and double quotes and all this thing, it's called JSON, JSON. And as you see, so what we wanted to send was just that, "Hey, how are you today?" And the way it works is that you always put what you want in pair, right? You have to give it a title, so it's the message, and the value is, "Hey, how are you today?" And between the two, you put this semicolon here. And you start with curly braces and you end with curly braces. So the question is why? Why is it so boring? Why can't we just send, "Hey, how are you today?" It's actually convenient. So why? Because then we can send different stuff at the same time. So here you see that thanks to this way of writing stuff, we can say, "Hey, how are you today?" But we can also send the name of the author, and we could actually continue this list with as many details that we would like to add in the package that we send. So thanks to these conventions, things should have a title. The title and the value should be separated by a semicolon. The title should be between double quotes, and the value should be between double quotes. I mean, all of that is super practical to actually send a lot of stuff, a lot of information, and keeping all of that organized. The second great advantage of that is that if every app developer like you and everybody else in the world knows that text is sent on the internet using this kind of way, then we can all use the same code to read it. So for example, it would be very easy to say, "Give me the name of the author," because if everybody says the name of the author is what follows the semicolon, then we are going to all use the same code to read the information in this text. So that's going to be, as it is very standardized, we're going to be able to use all of us the same tools. So I think I have an example here. That's how we would send stuff to the internet using all this. So we would, as usual, it's always the same. We create a box. It's a table where I'm going to put this information here. So I call it table of messages. It receives an object which is called a hash table. And immediately I put a hash table inside it. What is a hash table? We don't really care what we are. It's just a very useful thing because, oops, I can't see the pointer of the mouse. It's here. It's just an object which is very convenient because look at the action that you can have with it. If you put the dot in the menu, you see an action which is put, and what you put in a hash table is two things, a title and a value. It's very nice because actually it's exactly how JSON stuff works. So I put author July. I'm going to add another thing, the message, hey, how are you today? So I have an object in the box table of messages which contains these things. Now I'm going to use a bit of black magic, and you should know what it is if you watched the previous tutorial from the previous session. I mean, we're going to use a kind of a weird object which basically takes your object where you stored what you wanted, and it converts it into the text formatted in JSON. It means it adds the curly braces, it adds the semicolon, it puts the commas where it should. I mean, it does all of that for you, so you don't have to worry about writing these things. The black magic bit of code does it. So now you have a text which is formatted in JSON, which means it has all the curly braces and the double quotes where it needs it. And this can be sent to the internet because the person who will receive it on their app, they will be able to read it because JSON is, it's a standard. Every computer, every app has the code to read that. So I know hash tables are a bit intimidating because hash table sounds just geeky and stuff, but it's just an object that allows you to put a title and a value. So the title is author, the value is July. Another bit of information is the message, which is hey, how are you today? And then you use this. I say black magic. In codename 1, that's going to be a different name, right? But you just use a function, something which is very convenient, that converts the thing we just created into a text formatted in JSON. And this thing can be sent to another app where it will be read. So that's convenient. Now, what about the other side when the other app will receive the message? How can they read it? It's very easy as well. So that's the piece of text received from the internet, what I received from the internet. You just use an object which is called JSON object, which is using that, and you create a new JSON object that you put in a new box that you create. The box is called stuff in JSON. That's how I chose to name this box. And this box is specialized in receiving JSON objects, in containing JSON objects. So you have in this box a JSON object which is a bit like that, but you can't read it like that. The object has methods that are going to save you time. So if you want to basically find the name of the author, so July, how do you get that from what you just received? You take the object that you have put in the box, you take it here, and there is a method that says get, get. So what should you get? Everything? No, just the name of the author. So name of the object in the box, dot, get, and inside the brackets you say, I just want the name of the author. And this will put here in the box you create. That will put July. Same if you want to know the message that July has sent. You take stuff in JSON, dot to have the menu of actions, get, message, and this goes into the box that you create for it. And what do you do with it? Well, maybe that you turn that into a label and you show it on screen. I mean, you can act on it in your application. So that's very easy and very convenient. So of course we don't have to know all of that by heart. You are completely free to do some copy pasting, but the principle is pretty much okay. So if JSON was just that, so yeah, let me conclude on that. JSON is actually a convenient way to exchange text over the internet. But there is a dark side to JSON. The dark side is that if we just had, these kind of messages, that would be, the previous slides would explain all of it and we would be fine. But as usual, we have special cases. So I want to show you an example where you see pretty much all the special cases. So the beginning is just like the before, author July, but here I just changed the message to show you that you will see sometimes something like that. Like, why do we have these strange bars there? The reason is the following. It's because, how should I say that? If in your message you have a double quote, like, my friend says hi. Oh, that's a mistake, by the way. It's my friends say hi. My friends say hi with double quotes. Well, the JSON will be confused because if in JSON you see a double quote, you think it's the end, right? You think it's the end of the message. But here it's not the end. It's just that in the message you have a double quote. So JSON would be completely confused with that, and that's why you put a double quote before that's why you put a bar before the double quote to say, hey, be careful, that's not the end of it. That's not the end of the line. It's just something that you should ignore that. It's not part of the JSON formatting. It's just part of the message. So you put a bar before that to say, just ignore the double quote. It's just part of the text. It's not part of the formatting. So that's one difficulty, but pretty much okay. That should be okay. The second difficulty is that sometimes we have a list, right? So for example, author, the value is July. It's very simple. Message, the value is my friend say hi. It's pretty much okay. But recipients, the value is a list, Mike, Liu, and Mohammed. So in this case, it's a different case where you would need a special tool to go through this list. We have the tool, so it's going to be fine. But I just wanted to tell you that sometimes you're going to have a tool that discusses arrays, and I made a mistake. It's just 2 R's here. I think I was a bit tired. This list is called an array. So at some point we're going to use an object which says JSON array, and that refers to, oops, I don't see that. Yeah, that refers to this kind of list. But nothing difficult, but it's it adds a bit of complexity. And finally, so this is our JSON stuff. In green, this is what we received from the internet. Inside a JSON object, this thing is called an object, the whole stuff. You have other JSON objects. It's nested, it's like one inside the other. Why do we do this complex stuff? It's just that sometimes it's logical. Like the message is sent by the author, the message is this one, the recipients of the message are these ones, and when you want to say what is the timestamp, when is the message sent, actually there is a date for it and there's a time for it. So it makes sense to create a new JSON object inside the big one where you say date is this one, the title is date and the value is this, and the title is time and the value is this one. And then you close this small JSON object and you close the big one. So nothing really difficult, but sometimes it's a bit confusing or boring. So I just wanted to conclude, how do you, to be really complete, how do you read in your app? You are Mike and you receive the message from July. How do you read the time when the message was sent? The first thing, just like the slide before, is that we take what we received from the internet and we create a new JSON object with it that we put in this box. And then the thing which is different is that this time we use a method which says get the object which corresponds to the title timestamp and put it in a box specializing in receiving JSON objects. So we see we have two JSON objects. This one is the big one in green, and this one is the orange one that we retrieved by saying get the JSON object corresponding to timestamp. And when we have this timestamp JSON object, we can get the we can create a new box where we restore the value for time. So by now I think your brain hurts, so does mine, but that's because I just wanted to be complete in terms of, inside of a JSON object you can have another one. But when we will practice it in a real case, there is nothing really difficult there. And I want to finish here and really insist that if you understood this tutorial, you really understood an important way, because now an important thing, you know how to communicate text over the internet in a standardized way, which is JSON. So congratulations. Okay, now you are ready to code your first app where we're gonna send roles over the internet, and roles are text, so that's gonna be JSON. Thank you.